let's talk about everything related to SCULK. And I'm going to start by explaining what the SCULK sensor is. The SCULK sensor is a sensor that can detect vibrations or noise, and when it sends a signal, it sends it for 1.5 seconds. That's 15 redstone ticks. You don't need a comparator, and it can send signals to redstone dust or any other redstone components next to it. It does not full power the block next to it. Now, as you can see, the closer I get, the higher the number on the SCULK sensor goes. The number stands for the signal strength the SCULK sensor emits. Now, if I go very far away, the SCULK sensor can actually not hear me anymore. This is because it will only detect any movement or noise or vibration within an 8-block radius. Even if I put the SCULK sensor in a room and put a repeater right here, the sensor can still detect me. Now, this goes for any block but the wool blocks. So any colored wool or any colored carpet. Take a SCULK sensor and put some white wool in between me and the SCULK sensor. It will not detect that I'm here. Now, this also goes for if I just walk on carpet. As you can see, it doesn't make any noise, so it can't hear me. And it also goes for if I walk on wool. So it doesn't just go for carpet, it goes for wool as well. But there's something else that you don't know yet. If I read the SCULK sensor with a comparator, as you can see, if I put some redstone dust right here and I put a comparator, and if I place this right here, you can see it only emits a signal strength of 1. Whereas here, it's pretty high. This is because the comparator helps tell what the SCULK sensor is hearing. For example, if I walked, that would be a 1. If I jumped, that would be a 2. If I, for example, ate, this is an 8. And that's a 14, because right here, it doesn't matter what sound it's hearing, it matters how close it is. And right here, it depends on what the SCULK sensor is hearing. I also made a chart so you know what sounds put out what number. Now let's talk about the calibrated SCULK sensor. You do need amethyst charts to craft it. Right here, all the amethyst items. So we have the budding amethyst. This is used so you can actually grow amethyst. You can find them in geodes. We got the amethyst block, which you can craft by using 4 amethyst shards, just like so. And we've got the amethyst cluster that you can get by mining amethyst with a silk touch pickaxe. Now, out of all those, we only need the amethyst shard to craft this calibrated SCULK sensor. We do need 3 of them, just like in a roof shape around the SCULK sensor. Now, this one does work faster than the normal SCULK sensor. It only sends a signal for 0.5 seconds. Now, what's the difference between the SCULK sensor and the calibrated SCULK sensor? As you can see, the texture is quite different. You have the amethyst that kind of stabbed the SCULK sensor and a little trail going all the way down to the side of the block. The trail is not on the other side of the block, and that's very important to know because you can actually power this one. First of all, you have to know this one works almost just like the normal SCULK sensor, so you can read it with a comparator, and you can also detect vibrations and noises, but the only difference is that it can detect vibrations with a radius of 16, so I can be 16 blocks away and it can still hear me. Powering it will allow you to control what it listens to. Now, what does that mean? If I take a block of redstone and power it, it will power the SCULK sensor to the power of 15. Now, you can use the other chart to know how to power it to listen to specific types of noises. If I, for example, take a bucket of fish, I'm going to use salmon and just watch it. The salmon died, and the SCULK sensor detected it, because we powered it to the signal strength of 15, and 15 listens to things dying. Now if I power it to the signal strength of 8, for that I am going to use a composter. I'm going to power it by using a comparator and the composter and filling this composter. Right, that's 8. And now if I eat, it can detect it. Now you can also read it with another comparator and it will emit the signal strength of 8. And if I put the redstone dust without a comparator, it just depends on how far away I am. But no matter what I do, it will only ever hear me do the stuff that is on the chart, for example, with power 8, eating. One last thing you can do is by taking a block of amethyst and placing it, you can do it like so, or you can just place it right here. If I go over there, the signal goes all the way to there, and this also works if there's blocks in between them as well, as you can see. And there's also another thing that is in the redstone category, which is the SCULK Streaker. It doesn't do anything with redstone. It got me so confused, because why is it in the redstone category, but then, for example, the end portal frame isn't? I just don't get it. That's it about the SCULK, and that was the whole video. I hope I explained everything pretty clearly. If you have any questions, please ask them. I would love to answer your questions. I will learn and you will learn, and it's going to be very fun, and I will make sure to answer as many comments as I can. Now, I'm not sure how well this video will do, so if it doesn't do well and there isn't many questions, you can be sure I can answer yours. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye!